Everybody, what's up? It's almost Halloween, you know, it's October. So I thought I'll do some more videos that the kind of videos that I like to do. And also videos that kind of made this channel a little bit famous. And that's ghost stories and, legends, urban legends, monsters, stuff like that. I also enjoy doing comic videos because, comics are my passion in life. I love comic books, and I love horror stuff too. So that's pretty much what this channel is. It's a mixture of horror stuff and comics. And I haven't done a comic video in a while. I need to do a comic video. And actually, I think I've got one on the camcorder. I just haven't loaded it yet. So there should be a comic book video coming soon. Anyway, so I found a website pretty much about folklore, stuff like that in the United States. And a lot of them I've never heard before. Now, it's from a book called, the books are entitled Spooky. And they're written by S.E. Scullers. And pretty much what they are is just legends from each state that people tell each other or been passed down or whatever. This comes from somewhere up near Maryland. And it's called Black Magic. Mad Henry was a hermit who lived alone in a decrepit mansion at the edge of town. Rumors were that he was wild-eyed and possibly crazy. Some folks said that he was a magician who called upon the powers of darkness to wreak havoc upon his neighbors. Others called him a mad doctor who could restore life to dead corpses who were long ago forgotten in the local cemetery. No respectable citizen in town had anything to do with Mad Henry. Then one year a new family moved to town with a lovely daughter, Rachel, who caught Mad Henry's eye. He showered the maiden with gifts, gold, necklaces of pearl, and many more such items. Despite the gifts, Rachel fell in love with another man, a handsome young man, just home from the university. A week after meeting, they eloped, leaving behind a stunned Mad Henry. When Rachel and her lover returned from the elopement, they threw a big ball and invited everyone in town. While Rachel was waltzing with her father, she heard a clap of thunder. Lightning flashed again and again. Suddenly the double doors blew open and a breeze whirled in, bringing with it the smell of dead, decaying things. Mad Henry loomed in the doorway, pupils gleaming red with anger. He was followed by the grotesque figures of the dead, who came marching two by two into the room. Their eye sockets glowed with blue fire as they surrounded the room. Two of the corpses captured her lover and threw him down at the feet of their lord, red eyes gleaming. Mad Henry drew a silver-bladed knife and casually cut the bridegroom's throat from ear to ear. Rachel screamed and ran forward, pushing through the foul, stinking corpses of the dead, and flung herself upon her dying husband. "Kill us both," she cried desperately. But Mad Henry laughed and plucked the lass out of the pool of blood, surrounding her dead husband, and carried her out into the thundering night. Behind him, the army of the dead turned from the grisly scene and followed their master. The sounds of thunder and lightning faded away as the alchemist and his dead companions disappeared into the dark night. The bridegroom's father and Rachel's father gathered a small mob and followed the evil hermit, intent upon saving Rachel. When they searched Mad Henry's house, they found it completely empty, save for a light, which shone from a series of mysterious globes that were near the ceiling of each room. Mad Henry had vanished. Search parties scoured the countryside for days, but turned up nothing. The bridegroom was buried in the local cemetery and the dance hall was torn down. No one in town spoke about what happened, and no one dared imagine what had become of poor Rachel. A year to the day after the ball, a timid knock sounded upon the door of Rachel's parents' home. When her father opened it, he saw a gaunt gray figure on the stoop. Her eyes were dull with exhaustion and pain. It was Rachel. Her tongue had been cut out so she couldn't speak. But when she produced a knife from her tattered garments, the knife with the silver blade that they had last seen in the hands of Mad Henry, the gleam of satisfaction in Rachel's eyes told them that the streaks of blood that coated the knife were those of Mad Henry. That night, Rachel died in her sleep with a peaceful smile upon her ravaged face. So, it's pretty much, that's a story. Pretty cool little story. I never heard it before. Kind of warned you about the dangers of, ignoring others' affections. And also the dangers of black magic. Now, do you think that was real? Could have been. Never know. Could have been real. Do I think it was real? Could have been. Never know. I wasn't there. I do believe in black magic. I mean, black magic's a real thing. People practice magic all the time. I've got 5 minutes left on this video. We got one more story to get through. I'm going to try to give you all 2 stories in each video, so you just don't have to hear one. This one's pretty short because, like I said, I don't have long. Ghost train. And this story comes from Alabama. I was a railway fireman back in those days, working on the CPR line in Alberta. Oh, it just says an Alberta ghost story. Okay, anyway. I did a hard day's work and earned me a fair wage. I was young then, and my pretty little bride was just setting up housekeeping in a little cottage. Gosh, that was all we could afford. Life was good, and I thought everything would continue rolling along that way. Then came the fateful day in May of 1908. I was working nights that month, and my buddy, Towie, was the engineer. We were about 3 kilometers out of Magician Hat when a blazing light appeared in front of the engine. It was another train on a collision course with us. Towie yelled at me to jump, but there was no time. The light was right on top of us. I thought we were dead. Then the oncoming train veered off to the right and ran past us. It was whistling, blowing, and the passengers staring at us through the windows. But there was only a single track in the stretch of the hills. And it was then I looked over at the shrieking, rumbling ghost train and saw that the wheels were not touching the ground. Well, we were mighty spooked by the incident. Towie decided to take some time off from the engineering and began working in the yard. But I kept working the night shift as a fireman, not wanting some ghost train to drive me away from the job that I enjoyed. A few weeks later, I was stoking the fire for an engineer named Nicholson when we heard the whistle blast through the calm night air. We were on the same signal track just outside of Magician Hat. And the brilliant light of the ghost train burst out of nowhere, blinding us. Nicholas gave a shout of terror, and I thought my heart would stop, as before the ghost train veered off to the right, at the last possible second, I saw it race past us on the tracks that did not exist. Its passengers staring curiously at Nicholson and I from out the windows. That did it. I wasn't about to go back on the tracks after that. I did yard work for the rest of the month of May and a few weeks in June. Finally, I decided that enough was enough, and I gritted my teeth and resumed my role as fireman. I was firing up an engine in the yard one evening in early July when the report of an accident came in. The Spokane Flyer and a LaBridge passenger train had a head-on collision on a single track 3 kilometers outside of Medicine Hat. On the exact spot where the ghost train had appeared. The LaBridge locomotive had derailed, and its baggage car was destroyed. 7 people were killed in the accident, including 2 engineers. One was my buddy, and the other was Nicholson. Wow. So that one was from Spooky Canada, so that happened somewhere in Canada. Alright guys, I only got 1 minute left on the video. I hope you enjoyed these stories. There'll be more to come. Peace, love, have a good day, and I love y'all.